why are we fat? Is that an intrusive question? It may be. It might be. The reason I'm asking that question is because I believe if we understand logically how our bodies work, that can help some people or some of us to make different decisions. And when I mean different decisions, I may mean a better decision which will have a positive impact on yourself when it comes to fitness, longevity, and enjoying your life. So if we go back, way back in the time, but if you think about 100,000 years ago, so we stopped, evolution-wise, we stopped developing 100,000 years ago. So if we plucked a human being from 100,000 years ago and put them in London or New York or Tokyo or somewhere, they'd be okay relative of how the brain and how the body functions. They'd probably be a bit confused. However, the brain capacity is the same 100,000 years ago as it is today. And what I mean is, so 100,000 years ago, someone, drawing in a cave would have the same brain capability of some amazing artist. I don't know, Van Gogh or whoever's a fantastic artist now, I don't know. Or whoever created, the wheel, in comparison to people designing cars now. My point is, the brain development is still the same. We haven't evolved. And that brings you back to this point. How does that link into fitness? So it links this way. Our bodies are not designed to be eating and consuming processed food. 100,000 years ago, there was no processed food. So we ate meat and we ate grains and berries, and that's how we digest. That's what our digestive system is made to do. Also, our bodies, evolution-wise, we changed to walking upright. So our bodies were made and built now to walk. So 100,000 years ago, the human beings would walk between 10 and 15 miles a day. The average person now does about 3,000-4,000 steps. If you put that in comparison, if you do about 10 miles a day, that must be about between 20 and 25,000 steps. If you did 15 miles a day, that's anywhere between 30 and 35 up to 40,000 steps, depends on the person. That's a massive difference. We were moving a lot more. How our body function was completely different. When it got dark, we went to sleep. When the sun rose, we woke up. Everything, the pressures that we're putting our body under now is completely different in comparison to how our body's actually meant to function. Obviously, we're in front of screens all the time. I'm in one now. A lot of the times it's not natural light that we're being consumed by. We're not outside as much. People are inside a lot. So all these different components put different stresses on our body that our body is not developed for. So that means you have a choice. You have to make it a bit more. You have to make it easier for your body. And how are you going to do that? You can do that by the food that you decide to eat, the movement that you do every day. So 3,000 to 4,000 steps a day in comparison to what our body's built to do is miles off. Eating a lot of processed food, not eating natural food, miles off. Plus, our bodies is also developed not to be gorging and eating constantly all the time. So there's no time for your digestive system or for your pancreas to relax. People eating a lot of carbohydrates means your pancreas is constantly producing insulin. That's not what it was designed for. Obviously, that results to insulin resistance. Cardiovascular diseases we have now, due to the lack of movement, the processed food, all these different things. But there are things. What can you do to help your body in the world that we live in now? Because the world that we live in now is completely different to the world that we lived in 100,000 years ago. However, our body function, how our brain and how our body works is the exact same. So what can you do? Okay, obviously trying to decrease the amount of processed food that you consume. Increasing your movement is really, really important. And we know from different elements of of the world where people live over the age of 90 but are comfortable. They're still able to move, they're still able to get around and do their daily tasks, their functionality, their how they're living. They're still living a nice life. They're not hunched over, it's not like getting up, they're not in pain. Like they might be elderly, 80, 90 years of age or older, but they're still out moving, they're still enjoying their life. And it's not just down to the food that they eat, because in the different blue zones or in different areas, when they've looked into it, the nutrition of the diets that these people are eating are different. But there's one component that they all have in common, and that's movement. They're constantly moving. And it may not just be exercise. It may be walking, it may be gardening, it may be doing light labor, but they're constantly moving all the time. And when you're constantly moving, it makes a big difference. And that's the reason why, as I said, kind of swing it back in to how you can have a positive effect on your life. Obviously, we said, so cutting down on processed food, moving more, walking, getting out and walking. You don't have to have a gym membership. It doesn't have to cost you a lot. You can get out and do a couple of walks a day. And if you can get out and do 2, 3, couple of walks a day, try and get your step count up to the 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. Will make a big difference, especially when you start doing it on a consistent basis. I mean, you're going to feel a difference then. It's about being able to enjoy your life. What you reap, you sow. So the decisions that you make now and tomorrow and next month and next year will determine how you feel in the future. So it's in your hands. You can say, I'll do it tomorrow, or I can't be bothered, or whatever. However, you will live to regret it, unfortunately. And as I said, you don't have to run a marathon. Even start walking with a friend. But you will feel better and you will enjoy your life. So that's my 2 cents for today. Why are we getting fat?